So Christopher Sanchez is not an all-star. It is a joke. It is a travesty. Everybody that follows baseball pretty much will sit there and tell you the same thing, that this is ridiculous. And it became even more of a joke when Jacob Mizorowski, I might have butchered that name, the starting pitcher for the Brewers, who has all of 5 starts in Major League Baseball, was named an all-star. Obviously, the Philadelphia Phillies were very, very vocal about their displeasure towards this and the decision makers that named him an all-star over the likes of Christopher Sanchez and also over the likes of Trey Turner, who leads all of baseball in hits. It's ridiculous. Now, Ranger Suarez was asked to pitch in the game. He said no. Zach Wheeler was one of the initial representatives for the Phillies with Kyle Schwarber. Zach Wheeler will also not be pitching in the game. Good. He wants to get ready for the second half. But Christopher Sanchez not making it over Jacob Mizorowski is absurd. It's 5 starts. And you've got Trey Turner coming out and saying the quiet part out loud, which is the MLB All-Star Game at this point is a joke. It's a popularity contest. And it's always kind of been a popularity contest in a lot of ways, but in this particular way, it is the flavor of the week. Because when you've got a guy making 5 Major League Baseball starts, and albeit he's been phenomenal, but still 5 starts, you sit there and you go, really? But he is the flavor of the week. He is the be-all, end-all. And I thought this last year when Paul Skeens was announced as the starter for the National League. And Paul Skeens is an incredible pitcher. But I thought, really? The starter? Now, this is, and I'm going to preface this by saying, I don't watch the All-Star Game. You don't watch the All-Star Game. I stopped watching the All-Star Game when it stopped mattering. I was one of the few people that actually liked the fact that the All-Star Game determined home field advantage in the World Series, because at least at that point, if my team was good, which at the time the Phillies were, I'd end up watching the All-Star Game because I had a vested interest in seeing whether or not the Phillies, were they to make it, would they have home field advantage. Now, I don't care, and no one truly cares. Let's be real. But the Phillies have turned this negative with Christopher Sanchez into a giant positive that I think could impact the team moving forward. And that is what John Middleton did. If you don't know, John Middleton is the owner of the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, the Phillies have a few owners, but he really is the figurehead. He is the face of the franchise, if you will. He's the face of the ownership group. He is one of the best owners in all of baseball. And the biggest reason why is the dude wants to win. He puts his money where his mouth is. He has routinely said that he wants to, quote, get his trophy back, which he hasn't had since '08, so I don't really know if it's his trophy. But he wants to win. And out of all the sports, baseball is actually littered with owners who, believe it or not, don't want to win. Like, it's not that they don't care if they win. They don't give one flying fuck whether they win or lose. And that is because there is revenue sharing. So you have the owner of the A's who will cry poor. He'll want, Oakland Municipal County to build him a stadium because he's broke with his billions of dollars. But he's okay with the A's never doing well. He's okay with the A's never selling out. And why is he okay with that? Because he keeps his revenue, or he keeps his payroll as low as possible while going, oh, Yankees, you guys made a lot of money. Can I get some of that? Mets, you guys did well. Dodgers? And then that's revenue sharing. And that's why you have so many teams like the A's. I'll throw the Reds in there. I mean, the Reds make a run once every decade. But for the most part, like the Reds, the Royals made a run a couple of years ago. But those teams that you just never really worry about, those are basically the revenue sharing teams. They're the teams that the ownership will sit back and collect a bunch of money, and they're okay. Whether they win or lose, great, doesn't matter to them because they're rich. Whereas you have John Middleton, who realizes, 1, I'm rich. 2, if my team does well, I'm going to make more money. So I'm going to put this money in. I'm going to sign Bryce Harper. I'm going to sign Trey Turner. I'm going to extend Zach Wheeler with the hope that this team that I've paid for will be good enough to win a World Series. And if they are, then you know what happens? Revenue goes up. I can charge more for tickets. People will buy them. It's the field of dreams. People will come, Ray. Well, people will come if the team is good. I mean, I think we all remember that you couldn't give away seats in 2015. But when that team is good, the bank is the place to be. And that is something that he has realized. And he wants to win, and that is why he's one of the best owners in sports. But it's more than that. And it's what he did to bring this all back with Christopher Sanchez. Because one of the reasons why it was such a joke that Christopher Sanchez wasn't named an All-Star is because Christopher Sanchez had a bonus in his contract for $200,000 if he were to make an All-Star game. Now, he made one last year, but he didn't make one this year, even though he is more than deserving. And by the way, one of the reasons why he didn't make it is because Major League Baseball knew he wasn't going to pitch. He started, by the way, brilliantly, 7 innings, 1 run. He started on Sunday, and he wasn't going to pitch on Tuesday. But it's the point, right? It's the point of, like, he deserves to go. He deserves the nod. He deserves that little star on his baseball reference page that says he was an all-star. He deserves the right to say thanks, but no thanks, he didn't get it. And the Phillies, because of that, they reserve the right to say you weren't an all-star. We're not going to give you $200,000 because you weren't named an all-star. Were you deserving? Yes, you weren't. And I sat back and thought about one of my favorite movies of all time, 8 Men Out. If you don't know what 8 Men Out is, it's a great movie. It's a better book. But it details the White Sox of the 1919 Black Sox throwing the World Series. And the reason why they threw the World Series was because their owner, Charles Comiskey, was the cheapest bastard in all of sports. To the point where his ace, Eddie Seacott, had a $5,000 bonus in his contract if he won 30 games. Well, he was at 29, and Comiskey said, yeah, sit him for the rest of the regular season. And when he went to Comiskey and said, yo, can I get that bonus? Comiskey said, no, 29 is not 30. I'm not paying you $5,000. And because of that, because of the cheapness, the players said, yeah, I'll take the gambler's money. I'll throw the World Series. And thus they eventually got caught, kicked out of baseball. The Phillies weren't going to do that, obviously. But it's the show of good faith by John Middleton to sit there and go, you know what? You weren't named an all-star. It's a joke. You have this structure in your contract where if you were to be named an all-star, you're getting $200,000. I'm giving that to you still. I'm going to give you $200,000 because you earned the $200,000. Because you are one of the best pitchers in baseball. Oh, Ranger Suarez, you were asked and you deserve to go anyway. I'm going to give you your bonus as well. If you don't think for 1 second that other players around baseball are watching that and taking notes, you are kidding yourself. The way that an ownership group and a front office treats their players is very, very important. Now, at the end of the day, money is going to talk. But, for example, if you have a player who is down to 2 teams, one of them being the Phillies, the other, let's say, being the Padres, okay, and the money is the same, and the Phillies have repeatedly treated their players really, really well, while the Padres, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But the agent will sit there and direct his client, most likely to Philadelphia, because he knows that that's an organization that will treat their players correctly. I think we all remember a couple of years ago, I think it was Juan Soto with the Nationals, like he went to the All-Star game and he was supposed to fly commercial. And it was the Phillies who stepped up and were like, yo, if you want to take our private jet with our reps, like, sure, why not? Did Juan Soto end up signing with the Phillies? No. They didn't make him an offer. But it's not the point. It is repeated actions by this ownership group that show all of baseball, not just Philadelphia, not just the Philadelphia players, but all of baseball, we treat our players correctly. And I think when it comes down to free agency, and it comes down to a player like Kyle Schwarber, will he take less to stay in Philadelphia? I don't know. Okay? I think if it's like the Phillies are offering 20 and another team is offering 30, yeah, I think he's probably going with the $30 million. But if it's close, and let's say it's only a $5 million difference or a 3 or a 2 or the money's even, I think he's returning to Philadelphia. I think the Phillies did a great job by Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez. Kudos to John Middleton. We should not take this man for granted, okay? Because it is very easy to sit there and just get that money. Get that Comcast money, get the sponsorship money, and just sit there and go like, if they win, they win. If they don't, they don't. But he doesn't do that. And what he did with these 2 players, it is once again a sign that he is willing to treat his players correctly because he knows that it's like happy wife, happy life. Well, happy players hopefully result in a good product on the field. They're not disgruntled. They're not angry. They're out there, and they know that they will be taken care of and that hard work pays off. That's what happened here. That's the part where I'm going to ask you guys to hit the buttons. You know what they are. Subscribe is the most important one. That would be cool. Thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Argue amongst yourselves in the comment section. But, yeah, I do think this is a positive, and I am going to eat pizza.